67 was that number, and Lucas got it. So we have, well, a still to be determined opening. English heading for King's Indian. Will d5 be played or not? It's the big question. d5 or bishop g7? Which road will we go down? King's Indian defense, or still Grunfeld land? If bishop here, well, I could be responding d4 to either one of those moves. Yeah, I might go for, if d5, I might go for d4 bishop, yeah, d4 queen b3, putting more pressure on this. Alright, let's go with that. Grunfeld it is. Takes, knight takes, e4. Knight takes, pawn takes, and the idea will be to break down the center, but we don't have that. So black gives up their center, and now I can freely place an additional pawn in the center. This knight now runs the risk of getting kicked around, and if I'm able to recoup this pawn with bishop takes c, then that just turns out to be a waste of time. So black has given up the center, and I'm able to develop and recapture. So what does black have in store right now? Is this something that should worry me? I don't think so. Here's one quick tactic to be aware of. If bishop g7, I take the pawn, bishop g4 would be a blunder because of bishop takes f7, king takes, followed by knight e5. And we could soon be seeing this, actually. Hang on, though. Bishop takes knight, I can't recapture with the queen at that point. But I'm okay with that. I'll take with the pawn, reinforce my center, and then eventually play here. So bishop g7 is a blunder if it's played. And hopefully my opponent is not listening to the stream. Keep in mind these are eventually uploaded to YouTube. Streaming live right now on Twitch. And this tactic isn't available. Bishop takes, king takes, knight here. There would be knight takes knight. But is there something else? There's pressure on d4 twice. I'm defending it twice, but I can't rely upon him as a defender. So bishop e3 is one of my first thoughts, but if you have two pawns in the center, you might as well try and flex their muscles here. Can they do something better? Can they enter black's territory with tempo? Both of them do just that, but is it a good idea? Pawn push, where does this knight go to? Actually, pawn push seems good, come to think of it, because the only thing that's preventing me from this tactic is this knight defending the bishop. For example, e5, if this knight runs away, then I have bishop takes, king takes, knight here, and the queen takes. At the end of it, though, I'm losing d4. Pawn push, knight here, two pieces are hit, bishop and knight. I'd probably have to drop back. It still might not be a bad thing to do. I feel like I'd be able to have some type of a pawn storm if I go forward with that variation. It seems like there's some winning continuation here because there's so many interesting, like forceful continuations. That's the better word. Forceful continuations. Tempo gaining moves. d5, e5. Which one is better? Let me try this one again. e5, knight runs away. Actually, e5, bishop takes to be played first. I think I'm going to go with this one. Yeah, let's go with this. If knight here, I'm not afraid of that, actually. I'm going to drop back, and I'm retreating, but I'm actually attacking when I'm retreating, because I'd be threatening on e5. So knight e5, bishop e2. I'm still throwing some punches at black with my moves. d5 to start. Knight here, bishop back, or there's bishop takes first, queen takes, and then knight here. Queen back to e2, knight takes bishop, queen takes. I stand well in that position, I think, because I still maintain a space advantage in the center. I have a good presence in the center. All right, let's drop back. A good presence in the center, and I've accomplished that by not wasting any time. There was an earlier waste of time on the black side with d takes c, and I'm able to push forward with d5, gain space with tempo on the knight on c6. So what to do about this tension? 1 minute 35 for black. Okay, they captured, and this is what I had been planning to do. I'm going to ruin my pawn structure so that I could continue making progress in the center with these advances. So I'm grabbing some more space. This knight has to find a new home, and if he plays here, I could do this and hit him again. Although I have to be a little bit cautious of f5. Maybe I'm kicking the knight away to a square he wants to go to. I bet you this knight's going to go here on his own. But then where does the bishop go? I'm going to shift gears a little bit. I'm going to come out and hit this weak point on b7 and then look into this move here. Now if bishop g7, black runs into trouble now with f4, defensive e5, and an attack on the knight, and he wouldn't have g7 available. 1 minute warning for black. One thing to question in your own games is like that move right there. I did think about f4 attacking the knight, but then I thought to myself, might I just be attacking a piece, chasing a piece away to a square it already wanted to go to? And I think he would like to go to g7 and then f5. What's stopping me from just taking this pawn, or is there something better? I could play this. I don't see anything wrong with taking this pawn though. Maybe my opponent was banking on me taking on c6 and then the recapture with the bishop. But this threat on b7 hasn't been met. I'm looking into e6 though. e6, takes. Bishop has to go back home. This pawn seems like it might drop off with queen d6 to e6 stuff. I'm just going to grab a pawn. I don't see anything wrong with it. And I'm going to recapture with my queen, putting it opposite theirs. And if this bishop gets too crazy, bishop b5 check is going to end the game very quick. Okay, we don't have that. Keep my queen central. This seems like a good home. Same story again, bishop here, f4, less than 30 seconds for black. I guess this is being prepped. But I can meet bishop c6 with bishop here. Or can I? No, that would be a blunder. Bishop c6, bishop here. Bishop takes, knight takes, queen a5 check, and after I drop back with my knight, there'd be rook takes knight, recapture, queen takes c3, I drop my rook. But I have time right now to castle and get out of that pin, so let's do just that. There is some weaknesses over here near my king, but black is in no position to exploit that. I'm not sure it matters which rook I put on the d file. Let's just go with this one. Stops castling, and I'm going to take with this pawn. Watch over my dark squares, although it's at this point it's not going to matter. Let's advance. I'm hitting the knight now, and I could look into at this point just doubling on the d file, but we didn't get there. Let's go back. Good game. Let's go back. Flip. How to make an improvement. Right here, don't take on this c4 square. Finish your development. Bishop g7. When I take, then you recapture. And when I advance with e4, you take the knight. And your idea at that point, understanding the theme in this opening will be to strike at d4. You have your bishop on g7 pointing here. You strike at it with your bishop. You strike at it with your pawn. You strike at it with your knight. Bishop g7, c5, knight c6. You get castled. There's maybe possibilities to undermine my control over the d4 square with bishop g4, eliminating a defender of that square. That's the direction to go in. Capturing this turns out to be a waste of time, because I pick him up, I pick this c4 pawn up without any loss of time. I develop and recapture. That's my main point right here, because it's already quite critical. I have this mobile pawn mass in the center, and there just seems like there has to be a good variation, a good continuation for me at this point. And it comes all the way back to the time wasted of capturing here and giving up the center. That's the biggest thing that I could really add from this game here.